This is TempleOS 5-minute random code walkthrough, episode 77, and I'm your host, Terry Davis. And it looks like we are in the compiler. This is some gnarly code. I think it's move. What is it? It is no op. Oh boy. Op equal. So this routine is called by several operators: plus equals, minus equals, divide equals, mul equals. I can't believe I do all those the same way. Okay, so so the first thing, if it's a register variable, that is different from an address. We operate with a stack machine, and there's two arguments: the address of the variable, of the left-hand variable, and the right-hand plus equal value or whatever. So if the left hand is not an address, then it's a register. That's the only other option. So if it's a register variable, local variable, we don't have register globals. So if it's a register local variable, then it it does that code. And otherwise, where were we when we started? We were down here about. Anyway, so this is if it's an address, not a local. Okay, so we're towards the bottom. Okay, I think this is where, I'm pretty sure. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so I'm going to go to the control right. Control. Okay. Oh. So the other half is not where I expected. Okay. So so we have to apply the operation, and then we have to assign the operation. So this is, the first half is applying the operation, and then I guess the rest is assigning it. Maybe it's not what I thought it was. Oh, there's I'm confused. What's this case statement here? So when you call this, you pass the operator as an argument to this function, and if subtract or divide are converted to reverse, that's if in the compiler, one of the things you always encounter is, first of all, you encounter that address versus local variable. That's one thing you encounter. The other thing you encounter is argument 1 first. Almost all the functions have a if for argument 1 first. And argument, basically there are 2 arguments to most operations, and the argument, it might not matter the order. However, if it's on the stack, then the order does matter. So for example, if you're popping one off the stack and then you're popping another one off the stack, well, it turns out that sometimes it will tell you to do argument 1 first, otherwise it's argument 2 first. And that has to do with the stack. That's why that. So if you're new to the compiler, there are two arguments. Each argument has a type, size, register, and displacement. The type has both the size and the type, and then there's the register and the displacement. So there are about 6 types, I think. I don't know, something like that. There's if you have an immediate value, that's just an integer or float, I guess. No, not, I don't know. Or a register, or a displacement off of a register, or an indexed has another register, 2 registers, so the register type is broken down into 2 types, 2 registers, and it also has a scale factor. So anyway, finally, there's RIP relative, and the stack. So if it's coming off the stack, it starts out as a stack machine, but it converts almost all of them to registers or displacements off the base pointer. But sometimes you still get a stack if it's a deep expression. I guess you might. I don't know. So when God picked this, He wanted us to start here. So this is so if the size is 64-bit and its displacement, RIP displacement, or SIB, in other words, if it's not register, what did we just do? We just did okay. So if A1 first, where are we? We're in the second half. I think I should explain what's going on. So the first half it's doing a push if it's, I think that's stacked. That's kind of weird. What are we doing? We're doing push. This is for, why are there so many pushes? That's if it's stack. I guess that's a special case. Floating point constant. Oh, we're doing that? Is this floating? Oh, this is a floating point operation. Oh, no wonder. I was thinking it was the other one. Oh, this is totally different. Okay. So I have to totally change what I was talking about. So there's a conversion for int to float, or float to int. You have 2 arguments, and each argument might be converted, and we handle the conversion here. This is if the type is not float, then we do a convert. These conversions are done as a template. That means I have some assembly code that I just copy paste into. I assemble some code, and then I just copy it into here. A little tiny bit. I can show you that if you want to see. Go to the compiler, and I have assembler. So each one of these chunks is so somewhere in here is a conversion, I do believe. I could be wrong. No, wait a minute. Where is that? I forgot where it is. I guess I hand code it. Part of the conversion takes place in all of the code is generated in the last few passes, and the arguments I thought the conversion was done. I think the conversion is done right here. Here's where the conversion is done. Fconvert. Let's go look that up real quick. See what I could swear it comes from a template. /op. It's a /op. That's what I call the. Oh, okay. Oh, so the opcodes for f integer load, f store. It's either either you load a float and store an int, or load an int and store a float. So those are the two conversions. So I'm a little confused. I thought we maybe that's marking. Okay, we're getting. Well, let's move right along. I gotta finish. So we convert, if it's not a float, we convert to float. And why are we doing this? Oh, this is to for floating point operations. They have to go to memory, so we make a little chunk of memory. Let's do an example just to show what we're talking about. Okay, so f64 f plus equals 1.0 is 399. That's just a little tip. So otrace on what? Oops, f64. Okay, we didn't get a warning. So we start like that, and we don't put. I don't think we don't put floats in register variables. We don't put floats in local variable registers. Okay, so it converted. It starts out RISC and then it makes CISC, and the CISC operation is add equal. It started out broken down. No, it didn't start out broken down. Anyway, so we do an add equal, and here's one argument. This is the address, not address, not address. What? Of course it's. What do you mean it's not address? We don't do floats in registers. What? I could swear. Maybe it gets overridden if it's float. Okay, so we're telling it to store the result of the add equal, to fetch and store F8 off base pointer, and the value is an immediate. I said 399. What I meant was 3FF. This is 1.0. So let's see how it coded it. F load 1 onto the floating point stack. F add F8 off base pointer, and then F store. So it coded it pretty well, didn't it? Okay, so now let's see if you're curious, what if we say 1.0? I don't know if it's smart enough to do that. No, it is smart enough. Converted it. Okay. Let's add I. Now we have we're adding register RAX, and we have a convert argument 2 to double. That's I should call that float, I guess. I tried to get rid of the old terminology, but it's pretty difficult. That I can change. Anyway, so we have now we have an FILD because it's an integer load. Then we add, we create a spot on the stack. Then we add the register variable. We have two register variables now. Local variables. And then we store. I don't know why we created that spot on the stack. Oh no, we're removing it. That was where we got the we pushed the integer, so it didn't really do us much good having a register variable. That's kind of ironic. If we had not made it register, it might have been better. Anyway, so it was register. We had to convert it to a memory for a float operation. Then we had to get rid of the memory. And of course, base pointer stays steady. We worked off the stack pointer. Okay, so that's what's going on. So A1 first. So I'm highlighting the spots where code is made. So this is if it's not equal to F64 and it's a stack. Oh, that almost never happens. That's a nightmare. So we changed the subtract and divide to the reverse. I don't know why we didn't start with the reverse. Why we bother with this silliness, unless it's coming from somewhere else. Now the way I handle my operations is I bunch together all we have 64 bits for available for we have 64 bits available for we have an argument which is the operator type, and what the heck, there's no reason not to I go crazy. So we pass an argument to that function, and I go crazy with all these 64 bits available. So I code when you have something like a floating point add, there's the /op. That's the part of the opcode for the normal operation, and these others are usually there's two different instructions you have to deal with. I don't know what these two are. I'm just giving you a heads up that those there's a lot of individual numbers. What I'm talking about is we break these things up into pieces and use different parts depending on what we're doing. So for example, let's just go look at that op whole label. So there's the operator, we're passing it in, and if the bottom byte, then we change not just the bottom byte but the whole thing. Then we're handing it all, the complete thing to /op. I guess that can tear it apart. Bottom byte, bottom byte, bottom byte, /op. Okay, so /op. /op's in here, isn't it? Now this has the operator type. This is for so if let's see, it's checking for I don't know what that is. One of the operators is special. we do a modder with the low byte. Check. Now when we're doing the slash op, we use the next to lowest byte as part of the instruction, and or when it's a different size, when it's 16-bit versus 8-bit. Now this would, I don't think this would be relevant in a float operation, or if it's Rex, if it's 64-bit. So I have the 16, 32, and 64-bit. No, there isn't. Anyway, so that's what that is. Let's just call it good enough.